In this video, we're going to be talking about Samer's first year selling on Amazon, including his honest sales numbers, including everything, his revenue, all of his costs, all that stuff. Then we're going to get into the biggest mistakes he made, the top 3 Amazon FBA mistakes he made, and then finally we're going to talk about the biggest lesson that Samer made on Amazon. If you watch any part of this video, make sure to watch this. But let's get started. How much did you do in revenue on Amazon last year?
So it's been over a year, maybe exactly 1 year, and I did around $157,000 in revenue.
And remember, revenue is not profit. A lot of people on YouTube, they always talk about like revenue numbers, but as Samer knows, there's a lot of costs associated with selling on Amazon. So the first cost, a lot of times, one of the biggest costs is your cost of product.
Yes.
How much was that?
So for that 158,000 something, it was around $48,000.
And does that include like the shipping and all that?
Includes the product, the shipping, and everything up to the point where it gets to Amazon.
And that's an important thing too, because a lot of times when you think of your cost of your product, you're forgetting about, oh, it's gonna cost for sea shipping or air shipping. Do you do sea or air shipping?
Both, combination of both.
So that's the first cost. And the next cost is the pick and pack fee. And that's the fee to store your product in Amazon and then ship it to the customer. How much in pick and pack fees did you have from Amazon?
Pick and pack was around $22,000, again, for the whole 158,000.
On top of that, another fee is the 15% fee just to sell on Amazon. It's 15% selling on Amazon. How much was that?
So 15% of that, I think it's like 25,000.
So you're seeing like already the cost to sell on Amazon add up quickly. Another cost to selling on Amazon is ad spend, because a lot of times you put your product on Amazon, it may sell on its own, but you're probably gonna spend some money on ads. How much did you spend on ads?
Yeah, this one was pretty high. I mean, I don't know if it's high, we can talk about that, but it's like $25,000. I realize that it's a pretty competitive product, but we can talk about that more later.
And that's another thing to point out is a lot of times people are on YouTube or on Instagram are showing you their sales numbers, but they don't tell you how much money they spent on advertising. And then there's other fees associated with selling on Amazon, like other little hidden fees.
Yeah, there's like 4,000 of other fees that they call them. There's like 10,000 of coupon code fees. There's 4,000 to 5,000 of returns, people returning your product. And that's pretty much it, I think.
And so ultimately you had what, about like $16,000 profit?
Yes, which is like 10% of whatever I made.
And that's a huge realization. We actually were sitting down and we were kind of calculating the numbers, and I think we both came to the realization it's like that's a lot of money in revenue, but like your in profit, the money that goes into your pocket is a lot less.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel, like realizing the revenue like only led to that much profit?
I mean, yeah, we started with 157.8 or whatever it was that day. And then we're like minus, and then we got to 16,000. I'm like, whoa, that's it.
And I've talked to a lot of people that once they calculate their numbers, they realize they're losing money. So I think that's a really big lesson, is be careful too on like knowing your numbers. And yeah.
So I had an idea. I knew that it was around 10%,
Yeah.
But I think it's gotten better now. So
right.
The realization of like the addition of the first part and this part of it total being 10%, I was like, oh, okay, this is real.
Yeah. So let's talk about the mistakes. And I think this is a really important thing. If you're planning on selling on Amazon, learn from the mistakes that other people have made. And what do you think like the first mistake, the biggest mistake you made is?
So I'd say the most recent mistake that I've learned the most from is I ordered too much of that same product that I have now. So I had that product and I'm like, okay, I can get some more profit if I can rank more, which means I need to give away more products, which means I need to have more products to give away, and then to have enough products to sell once I'm ranking. So I did the math, I'm like, I need X amount of products, and that's a lot of products. But then if you think about it, that's just to get a tiny bit of profit extra, instead of ordering a new product and getting a lot more profit.
Yeah, no, this is the same mistake I made when working on Ariana's company, Vino Cards. We ordered 2,000 units, and we thought we were going to be selling a lot more than we actually ended up selling. And so they're just that product is just sitting in Ariana's parents' garage, which we could have used that money towards cash flow. We could have used that money towards other things.
Yeah, it's not the problem of the product sitting, it's the problem of the money not coming back soon enough.
Right, and that's cash flow, which is something I think we're gonna get into.
Talk about it.
Yeah, we're gonna get into detail about cash flow. And that's, I think, one of the biggest mistakes that people don't realize how important cash flow is, because it's not sexy, but it's extremely important. So what do you think, like what's the next big mistake you made?
The next one, I'm not sure if it's a mistake, it's just something that you have to learn along the way, but it's a pretty competitive product.
Yeah.
Which means that, as I said, PPC is more expensive, marketing is more expensive, you have to keep fighting for that first position or for that first page. So it makes the process a bit tougher, and it's not the end of the world, it's not a horrible mistake, I don't know if it's a mistake even, it's just something that you need to know.
So it's basically your product being in a competitive niche, right? And we've talked about this off camera. For me, private labeling is like typical private labeling of taking an existing product and just, and I'm not saying you do this, but taking an existing product and just slapping your brand on it is very difficult. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. If it's just a very basic product, like if you look at the first page and it all looks the same, I always say don't go for products like these. So my product doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
Everything's different on the first page, but there's a lot of sellers.
Gotcha.
A lot of people competing for that first page.
Did you add some kind of features?
Yes.
Okay,
so that's
key.
That's one of the reasons that it's doing pretty well. I mean, 158,000 in sales. People are buying it. People want it.
Yeah.
I just need to figure out how to profit more. But yeah, the reason that people want it is that I bundled it with something else that people bought together.
Yeah.
Like if you look at my frequently bought together or my competitors, it's both my products, right? Put together. So yeah, I bundled it and I think that's what gave me the edge. And again, I should have launched different colors instead of trying to get more profit from that first product.
And I think that's an important thing. A lot of people are teaching private labeling and saying, just take an existing product, put your own brand on it. But I think if you can make your product better, you can make your product stand out, that's really important. And related to that is branding. And I think that's something that we've talked a lot about. Branding is extremely important on Amazon. Like, what are your thoughts on?
Yeah, that's the whole reason that I started this product. So we're in December now, 2019. I started it in December 2018. And I quit every other product that I had before, which is like one even. And I did that so I can focus on branding this one product and creating a brand around it. So not just that one product. So I wanted to do that because I knew that I can sell it outside of Amazon if I had to.
Yeah.
I wanted that option to be there. And I'm just good at, algorithms online and putting a community together, which that's what I do on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do that for the product too and have a message behind the product, have it be more meaningful. Because I'm not that excited about the money. I'm more excited about doing something that's exciting. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I think that's another really important thing to note is if you can brand your product and you can build a community around your product, like I think a lot of people make the mistake of selling on Amazon. It's like, no. Yeah. You should be creating a cool product that you can sell on Amazon, but also off Amazon.
Yeah, I've been here in LA for a week now, a week and a half, and I've been networking a lot. And what I've seen, the reason that some people succeed and some people fail is mainly that the people that succeed treated this as a business.
Yeah.
And people that failed are just like side hustling it, which is not the worst thing, but you have to know the difference and be serious about it.
Amazon is a business. I think a lot of people are saying it's like a get rich quick scheme, like just a 1, 2, 3 process. I think it's the easiest way in the history of the world to start a business, but it's still going to be a business.
Yes, you have to treat it that way.
So the last lesson we're going to get into, or the last mistake that Samer made and I made and pretty much everybody that sells on Amazon makes, is cash flow. So you want to talk a little bit about cash flow?
Yes, that's been my biggest headache since the first day that I started. Again, my background is not business, my background is engineering, so I'm not an expert at doing whatever I'm doing now. I'm just figuring it out as I go. And I'm figuring out that dealing with cash flow, dealing with cash is important and hard.
Yeah.
And so you put money into that one product, you put a lot of money into it. And then it takes you 1 month or 2 months to even get the first sale.
Yeah.
Right? So that's 2 months of your money just sitting there. And then that first sale comes, but that's not the whole bulk, that's 1 unit. Yeah. And then you have to sell 1 unit at a time to get that money that you invested at the beginning. So figuring out how that works is not easy.
Yeah, because you might need to, let's say you start with $10,000 in your bank and then you buy $10,000 worth of product. By the time you need to reorder, you might only have $5,000 in your bank account. And it's like, well, what do you do in that case? Do you take a loan or do you wait? And that's an issue I ran into a lot with my first product. And it caused me I made it so I would order my product at the last minute and then there was delays and then there was issues and
yes.
Cash flow is a pain in the butt.
Yeah, so when I first started, I was running out of stock. I did it maybe once or twice, but then I learned my lesson, but then my next mistake was that I ordered too much.
Yeah. And that's super common. It's very hard to predict exactly how much you're gonna order, but spend some time. Like I've been spending a lot more time now trying to figure out exactly how much I should order. Another thing I want to note is Samer does sell from Canada. A lot of people ask, oh, I live in another country. Can I sell on USA Amazon? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so Canada and living in Canada and selling in the US is easier than other countries just because they have a lot of deals together. I don't know what it is. But if you live in Canada, you need a US based bank account. Because if you have a Canadian account in Canada, even if it's USD, when Amazon sends you the money, it's going to see that it's based in Canada. And it's going to convert it, which then converts it back, which then you lose a lot of money. So you need to have a bank account that's based in the US. And I first started with an RBC account, and that's a Canadian bank, but they have one branch in Georgia. And then later I got OFX, which is a virtual account, and that solves everything pretty much. And that's pretty much it. You just need to have you open your Canadian account and then you get access to your American account on Amazon.
And from other countries, can they also use OFX, or is that just?
Yes, I'm pretty sure OFX has a lot of, it's helpful for a lot of countries. I think so, yeah. Because I pay my Filipino editor through OFX in PHP.
I think that's one of the big things I want to talk about is a lot of people think though, even Canada's easier, but even if you live I know people that are in India selling on the US. I'm not sure about all the details about that, but I just wanted Samer to talk about that.
You basically need to be able to open an account and receive money. I think that's pretty much
it. Which I'm sure there's a lot more. I'll link an article down below about details about that.
Also, being in Canada, it's a bit hard to receive returns. It's almost impossible. So returns that customers return to Amazon, they go to Amazon, but then Amazon goes like, hey, do you want them to send it to you? Which usually you need to be in the US to receive them. Or do you want us to destroy them? And then I've been destroying them, which is not the best thing. I've heard recently of some services that can help Canadians with this. If anyone in watching knows, please let us know in the comments, because I want to test a few of these. Other than returns, loans, which could solve the cash flow issue, they're not the easiest for Canadians. Specifically not the easiest for Quebec, people that live in Quebec, and I live in Quebec, in Montreal. So Amazon gives loans. Have you ever gotten any?
I haven't taken an Amazon loan. No.
They've offered you?
They've offered me.
Yeah, they don't offer us.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So that's another issue that we have. In general, selling from Canada is not that big of an issue except for these things.
I want to get into Samer's biggest lesson, but first I think it's important. I want to ask him a little bit about his story. So tell me a little bit, how did you get involved in Amazon? Like why Amazon? There's a lot of ways to make money online. Why Amazon?
Yeah, so I moved to Canada from Lebanon 3 years ago, right after I graduated from mechanical engineering from Lebanon. And I moved to Canada without any jobs or like I didn't have to go to university. I had nothing to do. And I was looking for jobs full time. So it took me about a year to find a job. It was pretty hard because Montreal specifically is a city of students. So employers have a lot of options. So in that year, I had nothing to do. I started trying to figure out what I can do, what I'm good at. And I had done a bit of social media marketing, just like Instagram stuff. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm good at Instagram. So I tried some social media marketing for businesses. It didn't work out, or I didn't like it too much. But from learning about these things, I found someone on YouTube that sells on Amazon and talking about how to sell on Amazon. So I started with some arbitrage in Canada, very minimal, very easy stuff. I went to Walmart, I went to Toys R Us, I went to the dollar store. I sent like one box of $50 worth of products and I got my first sale. And that's when I was like, whoa, this is real, this is not fake, this is not a scam.
Yeah.
So then I did a bit more of arbitrage and then I started getting into private label. Found a product, launched it, thankfully it did well. And that was the product that I mentioned that I stopped selling. And because of that, I actually found a job. I added all these skills that I had learned from selling on Amazon, supply chain, the whole thing. And I got a job in supply chain management at a pretty good company.
Wow. So I think this is something that's really important. You got into Amazon with no real entrepreneurial experience. Really.
Zero.
Yeah. And like basically learning from YouTube and just like making it happen.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean,
and I took a course too, yeah.
Okay, now I want to get into Samer's biggest lesson learned, and what was your biggest lesson from the first year of selling on Amazon?
You just have to do it. You just have to, get in there and start selling and do something about it. You're gonna watch these videos, you're gonna take notes, but then you're gonna still make some of these mistakes. You're not gonna be perfect after watching these videos, but at least you know what to expect. So you need to start. You can start slow like I did with arbitrage and then work your way up, but you really need to do it yourself to know what to expect. And then the second biggest piece of advice that I can give you guys is to network as much as possible. And I know it's hard to network around you, but at least join Facebook groups, make friends online that do these things because, instead of just watching a video, you can then ask a question and then get help while you're doing what you're doing.
I absolutely agree with both those points. One of the biggest things for me, I waited so long to launch my first product. And I've even been waiting to launch my second product. And
same with me with launching that second product, yeah.
Every month that goes by that you're not selling on Amazon or you're not launching your product is profit you're missing out on. Like for me, my product is gonna make me, I'm pretty confident, $10,000 per month. So every month I wait, it's $10,000 I'm losing. So I think that's really important. And also the learning from other people. Obviously try to network in person as much as you can.
Go to events, go to meetups, go to conferences, try to look around you, but even fly to different cities if you can afford it, or drive. Also, a few more mistakes that I wanna work on this year are creating systems. I've been saying this for a year, but I've started doing it, but it's really hard. So I want to get better at creating systems so I can focus on the big picture. And then the second thing is I got comfortable last year. I want to be less comfortable this year and do more things. And it's a few other things that I want to work on too, and I want to talk about these things with Travis, because I saw a video of his where he talked about these things, so I want to learn from him.
If you want to see the biggest mistakes I made in my first year and my biggest pieces of advice, check out this video right here. It's on Samer's channel. So yeah, click on that video and we'll see you in the next video.